Well, hello and welcome back to Sparrow's End, and welcome back to me as well, because it has been quite some time since I have sat down and had a chat with you all. I've settled myself down, I've got my cup of tea with me. So I have put my microphone on to charge because I'm planning on recording some videos for this channel again. And I thought, well, actually, while that's plugged in charging, why don't I just sit down and just use the microphone on my phone and have a chat with you all, talk to you about where I've been for the last, it must be 7 or 8 months, I would say, what I've been up to, and talk you through all my different income streams, which ones have I still got, and how is everything going, and am I managing to survive on my online income still? So the where have I been question, I haven't actually been anywhere. I've still been doing mostly the things that I've been doing and showing in all of the previous videos on this channel. And I did talk about in a couple of vlogs at least, I think, and I think there's maybe a couple of posts on my community tab where I explained that I almost accidentally set up a Substack earlier on in the year. I think it was the end of February, beginning of March. I transferred some just little existing email lists and things that I had over to the Substack platform, which started as a newsletter platform, because I could host everything on there for free, this mailing list, and I combined them. And I had been looking into Substack and looking into Patreon as well, because I won't over exaggerate it, it wasn't like a whole ton of people, but some people talked about setting up a Patreon where I could make some extra videos and things, and those people seemed keen on it and, keen to pay for that extra content. And I thought, that sounds quite good, but I'm more interested in having a little bit more interaction as well as providing the extra content. And when I started reading about Substack to begin with, it was only just trialing video content. So I kind of waited, and then they rolled out video content to everyone on the platform. And I think this was quite close-ish to the time where I just decided to take the plunge and go for it. Over on my Substack, I put out additional content. Well, it's my only content temporarily at the moment this year. That will change, it will be additional content. And I wanted more of a club feel, a membership feel to it. So I've implemented a book club over there. So we've got extra content, a book club. There are chat threads. There's going to be the next thing that I'm introducing, because obviously it takes a while for me to sort of introduce the feature and embed it and then move on to the next one. The next one that's being embedded hopefully this month is co-working sessions, either on Google Meet or Zoom. I need to test them both out and decide which one's going to work the best. So we'll have that hopefully up and running this side of Christmas. And then in January, I'm going to use it to add tutorials, business resources, the little mini course that I talked about with like beginners KDP information in it, and probably beginners courses on a lot of the things that I do, like Redbubble and so on. Start releasing things like that every quarter as well. So that has basically taken up my time. There's no other way of putting it. It's a new platform, having to learn it, wanting to dedicate myself to those people that have signed up. So I think I've got nearly 1,000 regular subscribers over there and 60 paid subscribers. And those 60 people, I am joyfully in service to. I have absolutely just taken to it like a duck to water. I love it over there. I don't want to go on about it too much in this video, because I want to make one of my videos, possibly the first one after this, sort of proper video if you like. I want to make that about the Substack platform, about how you can use it in your business, but also give everyone a little tour of my Substack as well, and just sort of show people what's on there, because I counted up over the course of this year, there's over 50 pieces of content. In fact, I think I'm about to upload my 56th piece of content on there. So there's this library of articles, videos, and all sorts of things on there that people can catch up on now. I've been a bit shy about sharing it because I've had this perfectionist mentality around it that, I can't really sort of properly share it and really like tell people about it and give them a tour and market it and all of this kind of stuff until it's absolutely perfect. So I've been fussing about colour palettes and fussing about thumbnails on there, and in the end it's got to the point where this is ridiculous. There's now a wealth of content and material on there. That's enough to be able to start telling people about it a lot more. So lots and lots of things that I will eventually say about it. If I've piqued your interest, you don't have to wait for that video tour. You can click on the link in the description, and I would advise doing that on the desktop site because it's like a mini website. I will try and put something on screen so that you can see a little bit of it. You can just find your way around a lot better on there than you can on the app, and you can get more of a feel for what's on there. And a lot of the videos have like 5-minute free previews. The articles tend to have 2 or 3 paragraphs on there for free, so you never have to sign up without knowing what you're signing up for, if that makes sense, which is something that I really like about it as well. You can have like a taster of what's on there before making a decision. So by all means, go and be nosy and have a look if you would like to. So that's what's been taking up a lot of my time this year. I don't begrudge it at all. It's been incredibly enjoyable, but I am definitely getting into more of a rhythm with it finally, and it's about time I got back on here sharing some things. Now, I don't think I'll be releasing a video every week, but I would like to maybe come back and do something every fortnight. I think maybe a couple of videos every calendar month, something in that range, at least to begin with, because one of the things that I've been struggling with this year is my time management. It has been all over the place, and I think it's because I've brought something new in and I've been trying to learn some things about it. It's thrown everything off. So one of my goals for 2025 is to get myself a little bit more organized again. I used to have such a good workflow and I used to talk about it on here, and it has gone badly wrong at times this year, so that's definitely something that I will be working on. I thought what I'd do though is talk you through each of my different income streams that I have and let you know how they are all going, and a few of my thoughts about how I'll be moving forward with some of those. We'll start with my vintage shop on Etsy and just reselling in general. I have been reselling, I think, for 5 or 6 years now. Never have I found it more challenging and more difficult. I'm still running a profitable reselling business, but it is leaving a lot to be desired in some ways. This year, I moved all of my stock, all of my inventory over on to Etsy because I reached a point with eBay or Feebay where the amount of money that I was paying in a shop subscription and just the sort of the regular fees, and then to promote my listings, because in the jewelry category I was struggling to get many sales without some level of promotion, and to get really decent sales I was having to promote at sort of 8-9%. And I remember looking at the dashboard that you get on eBay and just looking at the amount of money that I was paying eBay for the benefit of using their marketplace. It just felt huge. I mean, it was huge. It was a really big proportion. I think it was coming in at like 30-something% was going on those fees and promotion and things like that, and the subscription and everything. I thought I just want to try something different. This could fail miserably, but I was feeling just this urge to try something else out, and I had heard nothing but bad things about Etsy actually, and about how slow it is, but I gave it a go. And I have to say, there is an awful lot that I am happy with being on Etsy. That's not the full story. I am going to be adding in some other platforms again next year. I'm not 100% decided on exactly what I'm going to do. And I have heard rumours about Etsy introducing a subscription fee. And they are rumours. I've heard nothing, kind of remotely official about this. But I think if they did, depending on how high they set it, that might influence my decision as well. So at the moment, it just feels like there's a lot of things, those of you that are resellers that watch me, there's a lot of things that have changed quite literally in the last month, but certainly over the last 6 months to a year, the landscape is changing and the economy has been changing, and also the platforms themselves have been shifting around a lot in terms of what they're doing. And I almost feel like I want to wait for the dust to settle before I make any really firm decisions for next year. I am not making a huge amount of money from my vintage shop, and I didn't make very much money last year either. I am still profitable. I do share my income reports still, but I do that over on Substack in the Sparrow's End Clubhouse membership because it's just safer for me to do so. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you how it can be sometimes talking about the nuts and bolts of money on something as public as YouTube. So it's still profitable, but it's not making me a huge amount. I mean, it never did because I was always part-time. There have been some positives though. Whenever I calculate the percentage of how much Etsy is basically taking from me in fees and things, it always comes out at around 15%, which is half that I was paying eBay for the same amount of profit. Basically, that's really good. It offsets the fact that sales are definitely slower on Etsy. I make fewer sales, but a lot of the things that I sell for more than I would sell on eBay anyway, and the fees are lower. So somewhere along the line, it is balancing out that I am making the same amount of money and I'm keeping a bigger share of that money. And also I am running a much smaller shop. It's only now got to around 600 listings, and on eBay I would typically be anything from 650 to 850, and so I'm making the same amount of money. I'm also working less as well. I took nearly 3 months off over the summer where I didn't really do anything much for the shop. I just dispatched things that sold. I didn't really list a great deal at all. I mean, it really, and I did take a proper break as well because I worked for the exam board over the summer and I took some time off as a holiday as well. So I'm doing less work, I've got less listings, and I'm selling fewer things, but I'm making the same amount of money. So I think one of the things I need to look at, like I said, is my work schedule for next year. I need to look at exactly what the platforms are up to and what they could potentially do for me. So for example, I'm going to keep the Etsy vintage shop because there are lots of other things that I like about being on Etsy, but because sales are fewer on there, it does actually free up time for me to perhaps dabble in something else. So I'm toying with the idea of maybe a small clothing shop on eBay. I'm interested in Vinted Pro, kind of want to wait and see how that turns out first, but again, I could use that as somewhere to sell through bundles and things, or I could turn that into a little side shop to the main one. I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities. I found another selling platform for household vintage items. It's not Vinteria, it's a different one. That people seem to be selling things on there, and I might test that out. So in summary, reselling has been a mixed bag. It's not making me loads of money, but then it never really has. I've only ever been in that sort of part-time side of things, a day and a half a week, but also with quite a number of weeks off every year, and also not actually working a full half day on the Thursday either. So it's more like 1 day and an hour every week. So I am definitely at fault, as well as all of the other things that have influenced reselling over the last sort of 12 months. So yeah, and I'm still doing it, and I do want to make the corrections and the improvements and things, but I am going through a period of reflection, and I will make some final decisions about what I'm going to try out next year. So that's kind of where the reselling and the vintage shop is. Now, YouTube, there really isn't much to talk about because I haven't been here for most of the year. It's still ticking over. I'm still getting money in every month from the back catalogue. I've had little nudges and reminders from YouTube itself that I should start making videos again. My audience is waiting. I mean, I've had some emails that, you know, are really telling me off. So yes, I mean, I intend to come back on a very sort of light schedule for videos. I'm maybe slightly adjusting the things that I talk about. I don't particularly think I want to go down the rabbit hole of talking very specifically about my individual income streams. I'll definitely do that over on Substack. But what happens here is it really messes up the algorithm, and I think it's constantly confused by my channel because I just dart about quite a lot with the different things that I talk about. So I'm still going to be talking about making money online, and certainly making money in my 40s online, some personal finance things again that are connected to, you know, being in my 40s and things like that, but steer a slightly straighter line so that hopefully the algorithm will learn what I'm doing and will be able to position me somewhere on YouTube and recommend me to the right people. And then if anyone comes over and becomes part of the membership over on Substack, that's where I will go into the nitty-gritty of the different income streams. And like I said, starting in, you know, January of next year, I'll start, you know, producing tutorials and, you know, things like that that are very specific to the different income streams. And that's my intention, and we will see how that goes. As I mentioned, I'm still doing the work for the exam board every year. It doesn't really kind of fit in with anything else that I'm doing online, but it's something that I take a real, you know, pleasure in doing, and I enjoy the responsibility of it. I enjoy the way it, you know, tickles a part of my brain that nothing else I do online does. So that's really good. And the extra money that comes in over the summer when everything else seems to just die a death is really, really handy. I really appreciate it. So that continues to, you know, to work out really well for me. And I signed up for the pension plan this year as well, because I thought to myself when I got to the end, this is something that I can and will probably do well past retirement age. My team leader is, I think, in her 80s, so I can continue to do that work that I do for as long as I like. And it does therefore mean that even though it's only work that I do once a year and it's not wildly lucrative, it does mean that I can steadily, you know, add into this pension pot over probably a 20-year period, at least 25-year period. And that might be quite a nice little nest egg one day in retirement. So that is actually all going really well, I would say, out of my income streams. Right, what else do? I do KDP. That is going fine. I'm not doing anything for it. It has become pretty much passive income. I have added this year, I think I've added 2 or 3 scrapbook paper pads, and that has been it. It's been another thing that I have just dropped while I've been focusing on setting up, you know, something else, setting up the membership. So it's been completely neglected, really, in comparison to everything else. A little bit like YouTube. All I've done is I've set up a very, very low cost lottery ad campaign on it, which costs me, it depends. Again, it's fairly passive because I don't really go in and adjust it that much. I mean, it can cost me anything from like £5 to like £18 a month, something along those lines, and I just kind of leave it running. I think I've already made £1,000 from it this year, and considering I don't do anything for it, I'm over the moon with that, really, because it's just, you know, it kind of tops up my income every month. especially while the vintage shop has been underperforming quite a few times this year so far. So that's all really good. And again, it's something that once I've reorganized my time, my schedule, and actually got myself sorted out properly, that's definitely something that I want to pay more attention to, because I had intended to spend this year trying to, sort of double my income every month on there. I'd love to get it up to 200, 250, but I haven't worked on it, so it hasn't happened. But overall, in spite of that, still very pleased, and still really happy that I started it and that I continue to get an income from it. I mean, I don't actually know what my overall amount is that I've earned since I started. I mean, if this year is going to finish up over 1,000, I had almost £500. I think maybe I've made £3,000 from it so far, and to make 1,000 of that, or over 1,000 of that, whilst not actually doing anything much, is just outrageously good. It's really, really good. Right, moving on. What else do I do? What else haven't I mentioned? I get a tiny bit of affiliate income in from Repper and BookBolt, but again, it's negligible at the moment because I'm not making any videos featuring those things and showing me using them and so on. So again, something that has been neglected of late. I have had some Redbubble payouts lately. That's been rather good. That's really fun because got 2 shops on there. One of them doesn't really make any sales. Occasionally it does, but not very often. And then almost like a main shop that's got 60 something designs on it. That one does make fairly regular sales, and certainly tends to make quite a few in the run up to Christmas, and we've sort of started to hit that point. I get a good half a dozen payouts a year from that. One of my designs has started to take off on phone cases and on throw blankets and comforters, and the throw blankets and comforters on Redbubble, if you sell your design on one of those, you get quite a decent chunk of money for it, so that's really good. And then the other day somebody bought 20 something copies of the exact same sticker so it ended up with a good chunk of change for that as well. So again, it's an income stream that has become completely passive because I haven't done anything for it in such a long time, and is definitely something that I might take another look at for next year and just see, well, I've got 60 something designs on there at the moment. I'd like to go through all of those designs and kind of see if there's anything that isn't in keeping with the others and that doesn't sell, maybe kind of get rid of them just to make the store look more cohesive, and then take a look at the things that are selling and think to myself, right, can I make anything else that is in keeping with those and that sort of fits the aesthetic and the theme and so on, and see if I can build that store up. Because once you've created the designs, the upload process is really straightforward. It can be irritating and frustrating at times, but it is actually a very straightforward thing to do. So that's going okay, I would say. I think that's it really. I mean, obviously the membership brings in some money as well, and it also saves me money on having my mailing list somewhere else, like with ConvertKit or wherever. And in terms of the money that's coming in and whether I'm surviving on it, I had a really, really positive first 7 months of the year. So kind of right up until the end of July, I earned enough every month to cover everything and to have some spending money and to have some money to save and invest and so on. If you've watched any of my budget videos, you know that I've got fairly low expenses, so I don't need to earn a massive amount of money every month. But I certainly was earning enough apart from 1 month, but where I had over earned in some of the previous months, that kind of compensated for the month that was really low. So first 7 months, great. Really, really struggled when I got to August again. August, it's almost like I've ironed out the ups and downs for the first half of the year, and then I get to August and it still feels like it's a bit of a problem. So that's something that I've been discussing with people in the clubhouse, and just talking about ways to mitigate against that for next year, some planning that I might need to do, whether there are things that I can put in place to either boost my income in that month or actually boost my income in earlier months so that I have more that I can stretch over to cover August. And I also need to think more. I've kind of gone into Q4 this year without much preparation, certainly not the preparation I was planning on doing. But I think if I can prepare for Q4 a lot better next year, then if I can really over earn in November and December, say, then that can really help me out the following year as well. So those are the sorts of things that I need to think about. So yeah, so August was bad. September didn't improve as much as I needed or wanted it to. So that was a little bit tricky. And then I'm recording this at the end of October, and October has been okay, nothing amazing. Interested to see how November and December go. So yes, I am surviving on all of my income streams. I'm really glad that I've got more than one income stream, because it's definitely given me more of a feeling of security. Like I said, for the vast majority of the year, it's worked really well. And I think moving forward, next year is going to be about, now that I've got kind of everything set up, next year has got to be about growing some of them and sort of increasing my income, because I'm certainly surviving. I am comfortable a lot of the time. And I think next year will be about getting things to the point where I'm comfortable all of the time. And then probably the year after that, we'll be looking at how can I, start heading towards my dream income, which would really enable me to just thrive, to just live life exactly how I want to live it. That's not going to be next year though. I think that, might be the year after that. And I did write an article recently and shared it in the Clubhouse, which was where I basically laid out exactly what I need/want to spend and save every month, and then used a salary calculator to work out what my dream income is. And I was surprised my dream income is not as high as I thought it would be, because it's just the things that I want to do and spend money on. I don't actually have to earn that much money to be able to do it. I mean, I need to earn double what I'm currently earning. So, there needs to be an improvement. But it's not as high or as unachievable as I thought it was going to be. So that's me. That's what's been happening. I've just had my head down working on a new project and actually focused on mainly one thing for once, which is very unlike me, as you know. But I hope that you have been good in the meantime and have been enjoying yourselves and have been doing really well in your businesses, hopefully starting up some businesses as well. So I will see you again soon on the video that's going to be about Substack and have the little tour of my Substack in it. And then after that, I will be resuming videos that are more similar to the ones that I used to make. They'll be about online income and personal finance in your 40s. So I will see you again soon.